Hey, Gail. Look at you with a palm tree behind you.
Yeah, we're in California, down in Anaheim.
Yeah? What are we doing here?
We're supposed to be at the SCAA, but we're really at Disneyland.
Yes, we are. One thing that I learned that I thought was really cool was that 80% of the world's coffee is grown on farms
Small
that are less
plantation.
than 12 acres.
Yeah, and a lot of these
So
people...
this really is these, families. It's not these huge corporations.
Some of them only have 3 and 4 acres.
Yeah.
And they were talking too about the farmers down there, the people that pick the berries, harvest the berries. 100-pound bag, and they get $17 at the end of the day.
Yeah. That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of labor.
Oh, it's huge. And there's they talked about different ways of harvesting the beans too. They have mechanical ways that are on flats, where the farms are flat. They have mechanicals, but they gather up everything: the green beans, the red beans, the ripe beans, everything. Whereas the other way is to manually, a person plucking them.
So you get better quality.
You get better quality, but the ones that are plucked mechanically, they have more processing
Down the line
to get the green ones out and the twigs and all the rocks and all that stuff. Whereas the processing is done in the field with the people who actually pick the beans, hand pick them.
I don't know. I kind of
interesting.
I like a woody undernote to my coffee. You talked about that honeyed process that Edwin from Hario and stuff, where it's like a pulped natural, where they wash it and then they dry it, and it's supposed to have a more of a honey taste to it.
Well, they don't get all the sugars off of the bean.
Exactly.
They don't wash it thoroughly, and so the sugars give it that honey.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I know. What I think is so interesting is there's so much variation in flavor that starts from the get-go. Before there's a whole element that we deal with. It's like coffee, espresso machines. What can I do with this, that, and the other? But there's all these elements of it before it even gets to you that is going to give it, a totally different flavor.
That was the next scenario, the next session that we were in.
Oh yeah, it was about variables, talking about water and temperature, grind, all that kind of stuff.
Distilled water is not good. You get a lousy cup of coffee. You really need coffee with a certain amount of minerals in it, and they even suggest that you do reverse osmosis or distilled, and then add your minerals back in, and then you get it right on.
For what you want to do.
That seems like
it's like because if you do the distilled, it doesn't have there's the total dissolved solids are either totally very limited or absent. So then you're going to over extract from your coffee.
Exactly. It takes too much out of the coffee.
Yeah.
Because the minerals aren't there. The minerals actually, the way they were describing it was amazing. The minerals actually take a certain amount out of the coffee.
Yeah.
Not too much, not too little.
Another thing that I thought was interesting they talked about, because people will say, soften my why I've got this hard, was that softening it is going to be something that benefits your equipment, right? Because you're going to be removing, if you put it through a resin filter, it's going to be putting, it's going to be pulling magnesium and calcium and stuff out of the water, replacing it with sodium. But it's not completely removing it and putting different things in, so it's still going to affect the coffee taste. So softening is not necessarily going to.
It's not good either.
Yeah, that's keeping your equipment. You don't have to descale as often and that kind of stuff. But it's going to affect your coffee.
The other thing that I found interesting was he talked about different temperatures for different types of brewing.
Oh yes.
And his take on espresso, and I didn't get to talk to the gentleman about it, but his take was it should be at 194.
Yeah.
And I wondered if he meant right at the brew head.
I think so, like at the extract, like where it comes out at.
And that's not typical of what everybody else they're talking about when you're brewing with a press, a French press.
Yeah. That
if you take the same coffee, same amount of water, pour it into 2 French presses, and one you stir, and one you don't, he said it made a huge difference, and I can understand that. The AeroPress that we have, that may be why people like the AeroPress so much, because you do stir it.
Yeah. And
it doesn't sit in there for 4 minutes, you stir it for 4 seconds.
And then you press.
Yeah, we got to experiment.
Yeah.
We got to get our lab coats on. So far we've done that, and then we went to the show itself and met with some of our
exhibition.
vendors.
Yeah.
We talked. This is my buddy Joe. I just ran into him over here.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Kat. This is my buddy Gail.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, exactly. And Joe, you're with?
Marzocco.
Thank you.
See, it says on here.
Yes.
Official.
No, he's the guy.
Yes.
Exactly.
And you have 2 exceptional machines on the floor today, prototypes.
We do. We have 2 versions of our Strata,
Okay.
the mechanical paddle version and the electronic version. But
Okay.
we refer to them as the yellow and red.
And yellow and red.
The yellow.
I'm not sure if you can tell which is which.
And the red. Yeah, you have to point it out. You might want to label them.
Did you see the shot only machine?
No. Oh, yes.
Shot brewer.
Yeah, shot, no steam, no other functionality. Just shots with a pin.
Watch your head. Water coming out.
Yeah, exactly. So the manual one is totally manual, and the red one is programmable. Cool.
Good deal. MyPressi TWIST. Yes.
Yeah.
There are some new things that you can do with that MyPressi TWIST.
Mm-hmm.
We went to a gathering after the show was over last night, and they were pulling shots with it of coffee, and actually they were pulling shots with vodka instead of water.
And gin. They were
And
heating
gin.
them.
They
Yeah.
were heating. Yes, they were heating it on a warming plate with a frothing pitcher,
Yeah.
and then putting it into the MyPressi and pulling the shot with the vodka or the gin, and then mixing it with Bailey's.
For the vodka.
Yeah.
And then the gin, they did a
Tea.
red tea extraction with gin and honey.
Now
I liked the Bailey's one because I'm not a gin drinker, but I know you like your gin, Grammy.
I didn't have any of that last night. I don't drink.
You just watched other people.
They were very good.
They were.
Yeah, the Bailey's was my favorite too.
I think that it's opened a whole new world in our relationship with the MyPressi.
I was thinking about that. Or any other espresso machine. No, that was
Although I'm not going to be putting vodka in the rocket anytime soon.
Fill the whole reservoir. Cat
With like
comes-
Monarch or something. You're like, what's going to do to my boiler?
Cat comes in with 2 big jugs, 2-liter jugs of Monarch. You really are a sport. You know how to treat the troops.
Yeah,
Monarch.
Virtuoso Precision.
The new grinder. That's right.
Yeah.
It takes the Virtuoso and then it adds once you set it to a setting, let's say you set it to 6, then within that there's going to be a lever on the front that will give you another 10 settings within that setting. It's a little bit like it's in between the Virtuoso and the Vario.
Yeah, so people be able to dial in a little bit more. I dig it.
I think that's going to run another $80 or so.
Yeah, pay more. Be more.
Yeah,
Pay more.
Bean more, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, that guy was cool. I really liked him.
Yeah, that's interesting. I want to look into that a little further. I think we've had some of our customers ask if we carry that. So maybe we'll probably get into that, or we'll look into it.
Little home roaster. It looks like a toaster oven.
It does. It looks like a toaster oven.
Yeah.
And it fills that in between. It's not a hot top at $700 and some bucks, and it's not the iRoast 2 at 170 some. It's kind of in between. It's just under 300.
Yeah. And it's smoke canceling.
Right.
Which I think is cool.
Yeah, it has a double burner on it.
Yeah.
Which takes care of the smoke so that you can do it inside and not gas out your family members.
Again.
Yeah.
All right, Grammy. Thanks.